Alright, if you watched my Christian country video, at the end I said I was going to record a vlog right after, so I'm doing that now. I don't know if I'm actually going to edit in the intro that I have or not, or try to come up with a new one. It's 5:30 in the morning. I haven't slept. I've been watching videos on YouTube. That's what I do. Um, but I did want to update you guys a little bit on what's going on in my life, just so you know what's going on, why there's no videos, why my videos have changed, why this, why that. So, I just finished my last final in school. Um, it was organic chemistry, and let me start by giving some advice to professors out there, and I really hope my professor doesn't happen to see this. But Professor Lowry, if you are watching this, I mean no offense. I mean no offense to you at all. I I'm just stating some helpful hints. Um, if you're going to make a test, a final, and it's on organic chemistry that includes many diagrams of molecules, please, please, please do not handwrite it. Um, the handwritten test with all these hand-drawn diagrams, half the time I was focusing on, you know, how hard it was to read, which, to be honest, once I got used to the handwriting, it wasn't that hard to read. But the other half of the time, I was trying to decipher what these molecules were. Not because I didn't know, but because they were answer choices. So a molecule, hand drawn, then Xeroxed, that's this big, is incredibly difficult to make out what shape it is, what letters are there, for the elements. And I had to guess on at least one question just because I couldn't make out what any of the answer choices were. Uh, so if you have access to a computer, there's a program called ChemSketch, which we had to use in the lab. So if you're a professor, I'm not saying specifically my professor, but if you are a professor and you have access to a computer, download ChemSketch and use that to make your diagrams so that it's actually legible. Uh, please don't hate me, Professor Lowry. I'm going to need your recommendations. I'm just suggesting helpful hints. But that said, organic chem was my last final. Um, so I'm done for the summer. I actually thought that I was going to have to take summer courses because I don't know if I mentioned this in my last vlog. My last vlog was a while ago. Um, but I was kicked out of Rensselaer Polytechnic because of low grades, just because I didn't really put any effort into it, and so my grades dropped and I got dismissed. I was told that I could come back to New York, or rather, I guess I could come back to New York whenever I want, but I could come back and attend the school again for my junior year if I got, and I quote, 24 credits. That's what the dismissal letter said. I needed 24 credits in order to apply for readmission. So, ever since I got that dismissal letter in July, I think it was. Yeah, it was July. Ever since I got that dismissal letter in July, I've been going back and forth on the phone to multiple professors and heads of departments and deans uh, over at Rensselaer, trying to basically get credits approved for transfer so that I can make up the 24 that I needed, which was very difficult because after getting dismissed from Rensselaer Polytech, the other colleges that uh, once accepted me, there were three other colleges that I was accepted to. They all decided that, and rightly so, they decided that I wasn't putting effort into it, into school, so they didn't really think that I would be a good match for them anymore, I guess. Which I understand completely. The thing is, that means that the only college I could get into was a community college, and community college standards are not the same as private institute standards. So it was very difficult trying to get 24 credits approved. Never did it. I called up Rensselaer Polytech. Uh, this wasn't even a week ago, several days ago. And I actually didn't have the phone number of the people that I usually spoke to. I lost it somewhere. So I called up a different part of the campus. I called up admissions office just because that was the first phone number I found on the website. And very serendipitously, and yes, that is a real word, very serendipitously, I got a hold of the admissions office and I told them what was going on. They transferred me to this guy named Kevin. I don't, not to put anyone out there, but the guy's name was Kevin. And he told me I should be speaking to a guy named Nick. Unfortunately, Nick was out on business, on some kind of, you know, business meeting somehow. Not a meeting. He actually said on a business trip. So I guess he is a big head honcho at a missions office or something. But either way, so I spoke to Kevin. He said Nick was out on business. I needed to email him. I told him that, the end of the semester is coming up. I need to register for classes for summer. I need to know what classes I need to take, if I should even do anything this summer. So I'm kind of on a deadline. So over the phone, he said, you know what? If you're in that much of a time crunch, I'll give you the number of the dean of students. Call him directly. So I thanked him. I called up the dean of students, got his assistant. She asked what the call was about, and I told her I need to speak to the dean. It's a matter of urgency. I have like 24 hours before I need to register, before I can register. I'm sorry, before I need to register for my classes, and I need to know if I should even be taking classes. And she transferred me right to the dean, and I told the dean the whole story, and over the phone, I could almost imagine him just looking at me like, you actually went through all this? But then he said to me, how many classes have you taken? Or first he said, how many credits do you have? So I said it's somewhere between like 18 and 21. That I didn't have the paper in front of me with all the list, but it was between 18 and 21. But it definitely wasn't 24. So then he said, how many classes have you taken? So I was counting them off, and as I was counting them, he goes, well, has it been 6 classes? And I said, yes. He said, then you're fine. I said, what are you talking about? It's not 24 credits, though. He said, the 24 credit limit or requirement was based on the assumption that all classes are worth 4 credits. Some of your classes were worth 3 and a couple were worth 1. And therefore, you don't have to have the 24 credits because you've taken 6 classes. All we need to see is that you've put some effort into taking your courses and keeping up with your studies. So I was relieved and a bit frustrated that nobody had ever told me this before. After all the back and forth for months and months, nobody knew that I didn't need 24 credits as long as I had 6 classes. So he told me this. I was toying with the idea of flying up to New York just to meet someone in person and talk about it. He said, don't do that. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money on a flight. Just do everything over the phone. As soon as I get my finals grades, I should send in the reapplication. June 3rd, the committee meets to review everyone who's reapplied. And then shortly after June 3rd, I should have my answer of whether I'm readmitted or not. He said, don't take summer classes. It's a waste of money and a waste of time. So after all this, I may be completely done for this semester. not have to take summer classes, and still be able to get back into Rensselaer Polytech. So I'm very relieved, very happy. I really want to get back into the school. I loved it when I was there the first year. Uh, it was my fault for messing around too much, and I take full responsibility for that. No excuses. I'm not going to make excuses. But I really, really, really would love to get back in if I can. So, if anyone from Rensselaer Polytech is watching this, really genuine, genuine desire to be back. Um, so yeah, that's what's going on with my school life, and now that school is over, I will be able to post more videos, hopefully. Um, wow, it's already been 10 minutes. I'm gonna try to wrap this up real quick. In my personal life, I'm working on getting my driver's license. I may have said this in the other video, but I procrastinated and put off getting my driver's license for 4 years, so I didn't actually get my learner's permit until relatively recently, so when I was 20. Um, I mean, I'm still 20, but I should have gotten it at 16, my license at 16. Didn't get my learner's permit until I was 20. Now I am working on getting my license. My parents are kind of making it difficult. They have very specific rules of how they need me to learn to drive. And if I don't learn to drive with specific people in a specific way, they won't let me drive their car. And without a car at all, I can't get a job to make money for my own car. So what I really need is to follow their rules, however they want to play it, uh, get my license their way, use their car to get to my job, which hopefully someone will hire me once I have transportation. Use their car to get to my job, save money, get my own car, then I'll be set. Uh, I don't know how long that's going to take. Like I said, their rules are kind of very restrictive, but whatever. So, that said, um, my personal life, my social life has really suffered from me not having transportation. Uh, for a long time, my best friend was actually kind of acting as a chauffeur and driving me places, which I really appreciate. I never expected her to drive me around, It was never like something that I just assumed she was going to do. So I really appreciate that she was generous enough to do that. Um, but she, to be honest, she has every right to not want to drive me around everywhere anymore, and I get that. So, uh, but since then, since I don't have transportation, my social life has suffered, and I'm just so ready to get my license and just finally, have that freedom, which I should have done 4 years ago if I wasn't such a lazy procrastinator. Speaking of lazy procrastination, um, I actually found a list online of adult ADD symptoms, and I have, according to that list, and when I was being honest with myself on the checklist, I have 21 out of 36 symptoms. And the page said if you have even one of the symptoms, you should probably get checked for ADD. So I'm kind of wondering if all my disorganization and laziness and procrastination and attention span issues and all that, if it actually is ADD. I don't know if I want it to be or not. I mean, if it is, it would explain a lot, and it would mean that I can actually do something about it. If it's not, then I'm just a lazy. Well, I was about to curse, but I like to keep my videos on YouTube clean. But if it's not, then I'm just lazy, and I'd rather not say that, but it could be. Point is, I need to get checked for ADD because I really want to know for sure. Like, even if I'm not gonna like take Ritalin for it or whatever, I want to be sure. I was tested for ADD when I was a really small child, and my parents were told that I'm borderline, but it's inconclusive. So they decided if you're not sure that he has ADD, we're not going to put him on meds. But now that I'm older and these things have really affected my life, I'm thinking of getting diagnosed if I can. So that's 15 minutes. See you later.